So one of the things that our e-learning slideshow is going to require is going to be some graphics, right? Because graphics really create intrigue. You might have noticed if when you're on my web page, when I have pages that do not have much as far as graphics, it's a much more boring web page as opposed to ones that have many graphics. Now, obviously, the graphics take a long time and it's sort of time consuming, and I wish I could make more, but there's limits. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make some graphics in here. And then you can just apply the same principles to making your graphics. Okay, so for now, what I would do is just follow along with me on this one, and then you can make yours for the assignment afterwards. First thing I'm gonna do is just get rid of this symbol because I don't really want it, and you could just create a new project just the way that I did before, just file new. I'm just going to continue on with the one we already made. So first thing what I do is just download the pictures. I already have them. I'm going to import them now to my project here. So I'm going to show you two things. We're going to do file. I'm going to do import, and I'm going to import to stage. And then I'll see here's my Megalodon, and it's going to automatically go right to the stage. Okay, that's fine. Now, I also have another picture because I want to do the Megalodon next to a great white shark. So what we're going to do is do File, Import. But instead of doing it to Stage, which I could, I'm just going to do to Library. And then we'll do Shark. And now what you're going to see is the sharks over here. Now watch, if I take this and I delete this, I can still grab this Megalodon picture, and I can still grab the shark, and I can grab as many of those as I need. Okay? I'm just going to get rid of those. But I want you to realize that you could just import everything right to the library and then just bring them in as you want, or you can just import it directly to the stage. Sort of up to you. Okay, so to start with, though, we're just going to go ahead and use this shark picture here. Okay, it's obviously a little bit large, so I'm going to go ahead and scale this. I'm just going to hold Control and scroll back, middle mouse button. I'm just going to grab the free transform, and I'm just going to hold Shift as I do this, and we're just going to bring it in, and we'll just make it that big. It's all going to be vector based, so really it's not going to hurt us it's not going to really matter what the scale is, other than if we have strokes that they'll have to be adjusted, but other than that, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so it's really best to start off with an image and then draw over top of it, rather than trying to draw directly from scratch into the picture, into Animate. A lot of reasons for that. Even if you're going to make original images, I still suggest drawing first and scanning them in or taking a picture and then dropping them in here and then tracing it. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to rename this layer. I'm just going to call this ref images. Okay. And what I want you to notice, I can't scroll it, is that there's a little black dot. I'm going to make a new layer, and we're going to do boom. Okay. And we'll put this as drawings. Okay. Now, what I want you to notice that this one has a black dot and this one has nothing, an open dot. That just means that there's nothing on this layer, and this one does have something. If I delete this, you'll see that this will do the same thing. Okay, so just be aware that that's kind of a way of knowing. Now, what I want to do is use this as a reference, and I want this underneath, but I don't want to actually have to deal with it anymore. So you can turn the visibility off here. You can lock it here. If I double click, so I double clicked on the word to change the name. If you double click on the page icon, it's going to bring up the layer properties. You can also change the name here. We're going to go ahead and lock it. And I'm also going to take the opacity, and let's make the opacity, let's say 25%, and we'll hit OK. And that'll just make it so it's not, that it's not competing with my drawing up front. And now you can see I can't interact with it, and I have it behind me, and I can work on it. We're going to click on the drawing layer, and then we're going to start drawing this. Now, Animate has a couple different ways of creating artwork. But it has some very interesting things that are different. So you might feel more comfortable using the Bezier tool or the pen tool to create Bezier curves. You do have a pen tool, and you have the other ones here: add anchors, delete anchors, and it will abide by all the hotkeys that you would typically expect. So you can draw your Beziers if that's something you want to do, right? And then if I hover over, you can convert it, right, or delete it, or add one. Does all the things that you would expect. Okay, so I'm just gonna all right, so all those tools that you would typically expect are available, and you can use the sub selection tool to grab things as well. So just be aware that does exist. Instead, what I'm going to do is concentrate more on what makes Animate a little bit more unique. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this. Let's start by just drawing a shape. I'm going to take this shape and I'm just going to properties here. And you can change the fill and the stroke here. So let's make the stroke, let's make it 3 so I can see it. And we'll just leave the fill as red. You can click on this and you can choose a color. If you don't like any of these colors, you just choose on this, you click on this little histogram icon here, the color picker. It might be on one of these other ones. I find these not very useful. I usually just like to have it on hue so I can adjust it, but just be aware that that's what it's based off. Okay, and you can also change the stroke color. So just draw a square or a rectilinear. This is a pretty good square. Obviously, I hold shift. That will make it a square as well. Okay. Now, what I want to show you is this. You can actually manipulate this shape using just the regular selection tool. Okay. If I hover over to the corner, you'll see I can grab it and just move it around. I don't have to switch tools. I can just grab this corner and move it. Do that to any of them. I can also hold, if I hover over here, see a little curve? I can go like this. Okay? Pretty neat. Now, what's also interesting is this. If I have another object and I draw over top of it, okay? If I take this, and if I click on this and I pull this away, you're going to see it automatically cuts that out. And by the same token, if I delete these strokes, so notice when I click on a stroke, it selects the stroke. If I click on this, it clicks on the inside. So let's do this again. I'm going to undo this. If I double click, it's going to grab the shape and the stroke. If I pull it off, you'll see, okay, so now the stroke's gone. In the same way, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull this over here. I can also combine shapes. So let's say I delete this part, double click, and I'm going to stick this over here, right? Let's get rid of this too. You'll see that now these are, let's get rid of you. These are now one shape. Now they're combined. So basically you have like automatic Boolean, which usually is a term for like adding and removing shapes from each other. But you're probably familiar with it being called, I think, Pathfinder. At least that's what I think they call it in InDesign. But it allows you to basically combine and remove shapes very quickly and very easily. Now, there is some caveats to this. So, like, if for some reason I'm going to do no stroke, I'm just going to choose none right here for the stroke. If I choose a different color and I draw something in there, when I go to pull it out, it'll be like that. When I put it in, it's not going to combine. They're still going to be separate. So, just be aware. But now I have all these points that I can move with, right? And you can even purposely, I'm going to use the line tool. If I need to put something in there, I can do something like this, okay? So using that as a principle, we can actually create graphics pretty quickly and easily without having to do all the Bezier handles and all that other business, all right? So that's what we're going to do. Grab all that, delete it. Let's get back in here. So I'm going to go ahead and just be aware, too, there's also the oval tool. Also be aware, with the rectangle tool, there's also the rectangle primitive tool. That will act like a regular rectangle. So notice if I take this off and put this on, right, it doesn't do that because it's treating it as a primitive, okay? So you can do some manipulation. You're not going to be able to do it this way. You're going to have to do it through the direct sum selection, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. In order to change it in some way, you have to go inside of it. Yeah, change it to a drawing object. I don't want to do that. But just be aware, generally speaking, do not choose this one or the oval one. Also, this is really annoying because it's kind of like the same thing. There's this button here, which is the object drawing, which basically does the same thing again. Okay, so just be aware that that setting, the tool settings, there's tool settings here, but some of these have settings underneath as well. Like if I grab this, see, it's got these other settings, which you can also get to them here, but they're on both spots. This one has it here, so I'm just click that off. You will also see it up here. Okay, so just make sure that is not on, so that way you have just the solid shapes and doesn't create like it just creates the fill. So what I want you to do is we're going to go to the stroke and we're going to do no stroke. I think it'll be better to not have the stroke. Let's just make it more very flat kind of graphics. I think that'll look a little bit nicer. Then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to choose a color. This isn't as big of a deal because eventually I can just change this color to something else if I want. I probably will. For now, what I'll do is I'll just try to make it kind of a similar crummy looking color that they had. Go with that. It's pretty ugly. Okay. And I have the rectangle tool, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to click and drag it like so. Yay. All right. Now I'm going to hit V for the select tool, or you can just hit up here. And I'm just going to pull these points and put them roughly where I think they should be. So I'm going to put one here, and we'll put one here. And then we'll put one, let's say, here. And we'll put one here. Okay. From here, I can just start bending and pulling things. I'm going to go like this, pull this up. The other thing I'm going to do is you can see I can't see through it, right? Which makes it hard to trace. If I go over here and you click on this, this will switch it so that it's only the outlines of all the objects. Okay. If I do it on this one, you're going to see basically nothing. I don't know if you can see a little tiny outline on the outside of this picture. So I'm going to click that little box, and that'll allow it so I can kind of see what I'm working with here. All right. So we'll go like that. I'm going to pull this, and that's not quite right. I need to do a little bit more, but watch this. If you hold the Control key and click and drag, you can add a new point automatically. So I'm going to go, so if you look, this kind of curves like this, and then at some point it starts to go the other direction. So I'm going to go to, like, let's say here, and then I'm going to let off Control and then click and drag up like that. And you might need to make a little bit of an adjustment like so. Okay. Voila. Same thing here. This kind of curves, but then it kind of gets a little shallow here. So I'm going to hold Control and we'll put it like here. And I'm just going to click and drag up like that. And then we'll just drag this one down. Good. Now notice I didn't put this to the end because this actually needs to be round. So I'm just going to go like this to kind of get that round shape. And then we need to add some points here. So I'm just going to go here. Oops, I'm going to hold Control. And we're going to just go like this. I'm going to hold Control again. I need to put one there so I need to do two of them basically. And then we'll hold Control again. We'll put it here. And then I'm just going to go like that. I'm going to hold Control, put that one there. And I'm just going to Control to zoom in. And we're just going to make some adjustments. Just using middle click. Let's just click. I'm just going to hold Control to put a point there because I think it's a little sharper. All right. Now, imagine I did a good job. I know it's hard, but just picture it in your mind's eye, if you will. Okay. Something like that. All right. Like that. Okay. Close enough. No one needs to know. I obviously got to do the spin here, so just going to do the same thing. Hold Control, pull that guy up here. Let's go like here. And then I'm just going to pull this like that. Then we'll hold Control again, and I'm going to go up here, and then we can just kind of curve that out. It's going to take a little bit of doing. Oops. Like so. And we'll just go like that. There's obviously this bit here, so I'm just going to hold Control, click there, hold Control, click there, so I can pull that out, because I need 2 points there. All right, and then we can kind of do sort of a similar thing here. Let's hold Control, put that one there, hold Control, put one there, we'll hold Control, put one here, and then I'm going to hold Control and put one up here, just so that I have enough to basically get the shapes that I need. And we'll just kind of click and drag these points. All right, sweet. Okay, so we've got the basic shape. I do need to do these different fins and such. So to do that, I think it's going to be easier actually just to make these separate. So I'm going to click, and I'm just going to draw another square here. And we will just basically put these, overlap them with this. Notice it automatic. Oops, actually, that wasn't quite good, was it? Let's do, so this has got to go up a little bit. Might need to hold Control so that I can, let's do one here too. Just so that we have the fidelity we need. Okay, good. And then right here, we'll put that one there. And, oops, come on, get up there. Gotta make sure I get the point. Okay. Like so. Okay. Then I'm just going to grab, okay, so that's already part of that. That's fine. Then we're going to grab this one, put this one here. Actually, let's just go all the way. We're going to go to there. And then we'll grab this, put this guy here, put this one there, pull this up, push this in. Okay, looks good. You just need to do that for the other ones. So just go like this, and I'm just gonna make just a general fin here. I think this will just be easier. So we'll go like this and like that, and then just pull that one this way, this one this way, and then we will move this. I'm gonna hit Q before I make it. Crap. Just make sure it overlaps over it, and just gonna scale that a little bit. I'm gonna hold I'm gonna hit V now for the regular select. I'm gonna hold Alt and click and drag because that will create a duplicate. That works actually for most of the Adobe programs. And then we'll scale this one down, and I'll rotate it around like so. Good. And then we just need to do one for here. This one's a little bit different. That's why I was gonna not do it exactly the same way. And let's do something like this. And we'll just pull this up and then pull this way. Now the reason why it's disappearing is because this is actually a solid shape. Don't forget that. And we'll just pull this one this way, pull this like this, put that there, pull that in, and voila. I'm gonna turn this back off. You'll see now we have, oops, I forgot this one. Okay, so what would be nice is maybe we could just take one of these and cut these off and put them up there. So here's a way of doing it. We're gonna take the line tool, and I'm gonna click and drag a line across. Okay, I'm gonna select this piece. You could do Control C, Control V, but instead I'm just gonna hold Alt to click and drag that off. Right, so I just basically made a duplicate of it. I'm gonna click that, double click on that line, and I'm gonna delete it. Kind of a weird way of doing it, but I feel like that kind of worked. And then we're just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put this back on so I can see what I'm doing. We're gonna go ahead and do something like this, and then we'll just move this sort of in, and then I'm just going to make sure that these pieces work. Okay, yay. All right, now I got all the pieces. All right. Oh, not that one, sorry. Okay, and if you look, we now have a solid shape, and we did it all through just manipulating those points. Okay, so there's a rough overview of how to just create a shape pretty quickly by just basically using drawing one shape and then just manipulating it with the selection tool. Hopefully you liked that. The next one we're going to do is we're going to add some like details and stuff to this.